Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Thank you so much for your support so far. It's been a little bit crazy, actually, to say we've done two episodes, and yeah, I know we got you very much like the breakouts as well. There's some people that've got a short attention span and like the breakouts, so we will be clipping out bits of this podcast, I'm sure, for people to enjoy the best and the juiciest bits of topics we've got to talk about, and there is quite a few of them this week. Our document looks ultimately professional. I've even put colours on it this week, guys.
Yes. Very good. I even helped for a change.
Yes, he actually sent me the podcast document this week to start it off because he was so eager, and I love that because then I just came in and edited it and added things, and we've got a show. And have we got a show for you today? So we are recording this just off the back of, you'll be seeing it at 12 p.m. if you're watching it on the Sunday. We are recording it straight off the back of the Preston win, which is awesome. Obviously, we were talking about Coventry in the midweek. Before we get into football talks, how has your week been in general, Punk? Because we are humans at the end of the day.
Very, very stressful. I've been trying to sort out all the little bits so you're not editing for 3 hours, and then throw in a 3-year-old who doesn't listen, and then throw in just general life. So it's been fun. And then you've had everyone messaging me going, what's your view on this on Wednesday? What's your view on this on Wednesday? At the moment, my view on Wednesday at the minute is you'll listen to it in this podcast or on my videos.
Well, if anybody doesn't know, and they didn't watch the live stream of the Coventry game where I explained this, Dexterity Watch is still going, by the way, if you want that content. Punk sent me the wrong audio file last week, and I had to spend an hour editing out all of my audio that was on his audio track. So hopefully that's not happened today, or we've not got another technical issue. And this is a case of, because I'm at the wire now. I've got to edit this pretty much straight after this and get it up on podcast services. So going to make sure we can do that.
So the host doesn't like spend all of the evening editing something, and I get a message from Soph going, I lost my fella.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a case of well, to be fair, I'm pretty much work central at the minute anyway, so we are a case of, but if I go AWOL on the messages, she'll know why as well. So we've got to make sure that we run this one right. But let's talk about Sheffield Wednesday, because we've got a long one today, and we don't want to run forever, even though it's probably going to be a little bit of a
quick one. How's your week been?
Oh yeah, I exist too. All right, I've been getting a lot of work things done. I've been getting eager about this podcast. I've been thinking about things to do with the channel. I've been thinking about how I can financially pump something in and maybe bring something pretty cool to the channel, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to launch that this month or next month, but we'll see. It'll be another place for a community. It'll be something a bit cool, but I'll talk to you about. I haven't spoke to you about that yet. I want you involved, obviously. But something for the podcast specifically as well. I'm going to look at doing all that.
People don't realise we do this for the community. We like making videos and doing this kind of content, but there isn't anything like this Wednesday based, so it's nice to have.
It's one of those that we want to make sure that, well, YouTube is something that's been kind of like, if it's been done, it's not really been delved into that much, especially for Wednesday. So we want to make sure it was everywhere. We're going to make sure that Punk's muting his notifications. And Talking Wednesday podcast, give us a nice review, all of that. That's the housekeeping out of the way. Membership's available. Members have priority when submitting topics. That's all common knowledge now, I'm sure. But the first topic today is obviously the live topic, the one that we're going to go straight into, and that is talking about the fact that we have watched Coventry play Wednesday and Preston play Wednesday. And we're going to talk about our general feelings of them both now. So this is the live part, really. This is the reaction part. We've not planned any of this. We've literally just come straight off the back of Preston. So let's start with Coventry. And oh my God, what was Coventry?
Coventry was a little bit of that game where, you know, when you get like a first game of the season and you can tell everyone's not ready for it yet, because we've had that break. It felt like no one was ready for the first game of the season, and we just looked poor. And Coventry, to their credit, played very well. I got a Coventry fan going, oh, you just saw it was just little old Coventry and kind of thing. But you had a game plan. If you've got a game plan, you can beat Wednesday. That's the thing.
You don't even need a game plan, really. You just need to try really hard and we'll roll over it sometimes this season. But it was dull. It was poor. I said on last week's podcast that I was nervous. You were a bit more optimistic than me, I think. I was a bit nervous after the massive because you were like, oh, well, it was a good performance against Everton, and I agreed with that. But I thought if we get a whacking by Everton or anything, I don't know if we'll be able to carry that into the games. I'm nervous about it because of the gap. And I think that's exactly what happened against Coventry. We can write it off. We needed the points. It was unforgivable, the drop of points. But what is a bit of a redeeming factor, even though it doesn't redeem it, because let's be honest, we needed the points. We should have beat Coventry. Not on paper. It wasn't a case of like you're destined to beat any side, but we should beat everybody at the minute because we should be fighting for our lives and finding a win somehow. I don't care if you are bottom of the league or you are top of the league. What Sheffield Wednesday should be doing their utmost and getting the points right now because they need to scrap their way out of it, right?
To be fair, it goes back to a little bit here, and it's later on. I wonder if that's why a Hutchinson kind of character been brought in.
Yeah, no, exactly. We've obviously we are going to talk about a bit about Hutch coming back and all things like that. But Preston is a slightly redeeming factor. I'm in much more of a better mood the night of recording this now because we weren't great, but we showed signs of being that side that can attack and take the game to an opposition, which I've not seen too much of recently. And it was a scrappy game. It wasn't a great game. But I think Preston will feel hard done by. But I also think that we did deserve the win. We got a good goal. Liam Palmer, absolutely amazing. Academy lad coming through, getting his first goal in, 9 years?
Yep.
And Sheffield Wednesday actually managing to do the business and get the win. And it's 3 points must needed. We are still in a relegation spot. We're about 4 points off safety, I believe, but we have got a game in hand. We are fighting our way back up. So, see what happens.
If you look at it, I saw somebody say earlier, the 22 games left, we need to win 10, in theory, to get out. So, you can count that as one game done. But the one thing I liked about today, we didn't sit back. We didn't sit back and we didn't just had that whole thing where Wednesday normally just defend. We actually went to try and get a second, which I haven't seen us do for a while. And Barry Bannon, that was probably the best Barry Bannon I've seen in a while, who was taking shots, trying to go for it. And
he was all right on corners as well.
Yeah, he was beating his first man for a change, and we were doing something different. And the one thing I got from the Coventry game was how angry and pissed off Josh Windass was at the end.
Yeah.
He was so upset, but I think that kind of aggression that they're annoyed by it is huge because it shows that they care. The one thing I'm seeing from this Wednesday team after the commentary, they've gone, right, that wasn't good enough, but we're going to fight for it. And the nice thing is that long ball that Bannon normally does from kickoff actually worked, and the long throwing finally worked.
No, yeah, definitely. We've been getting there with them. Then the long throwing came in. It wasn't a corner. I think I just said it was a... Oh, I'm going to have to redo it. I've been asked to do some post-match reviews for something, really short ones. I've just said it was a corner. It wasn't a corner, it was a long throw. I'm glad I've done this before I sent it off. But yeah, it was the long throw from Patterson. I was so caught up in the hype of the actual goal because it didn't feel like it came from the long throw because the long throw came in and then Lees headed it and then Kachunga headed it back across and then a right foot volley from Palmer puts it past the keeper. I mean, you've got to go straight down the middle there. If he'd have gone for a corner, he is a fullback. I can imagine he'd have put it wide. He just went straight for the volley, and you've got to get the technique right there. And I was impressed. Good goal. Decent.
It was nice to see Liam Palmer's excitement for scoring that goal as well. Because he's had so many chances where he should be scoring goals, and you're seeing after it. And you see, when you watch football, you have that whole thing where you see players swear. And the amount of times I've seen Liam Palmer just let one go where he's just gone for the whole swear because he knew he should have done better. And it gave us that little bit of structure. But when was the last time we scored before going in at half time? I can't remember the last time.
No,
that would have done a lot of good.
It's been a time because I remember we were saying as it was live, I was like, we've just scored and I've just seen the added time come on. And that's such a good feeling. It's the boost and then they come out and we held it. And it was a scrappy game throughout, but the scrappiness in the second half paid off because we actually keeping it scrappy, we were still going for it. And as you said, we were chasing that second. And by chasing that second, I don't know, I saw a performance what I want to see from a Wednesday side tonight, and it was the result we wanted as well. Okay?
Yeah.
At the minute, we need results rather than performances. But we had both tonight, and if we can take that into next week, sound. I'm happy.
The one thing I also liked was the fact when we ever have a game where we're holding on by one goal, it's always 5 or 6 minutes at a time. The fact that it was 3 minutes, I was like, oh, someone likes us today.
Yeah, a little bit of luck on our side. But to be fair, there wasn't that much falling about on the floor until the second half. So
no.
There was an omission of Brown today as well, worth mentioning, actually.
Yeah.
Not in the squad at all. Bit dodgy, that one.
I'm not sure if Brown's situation is something that's still ongoing from what we said last week, or it's the case that he's pulled up or something. But it's one of those things, we keep seeing these situations with certain players, like people have saw about Liam Shaw and everything. And it just, you don't know what to make of it because we know what's going on with the club off the pitch. It's nice to have something that we can celebrate on the pitch, but Brown probably would have been key today if he did come on, but I don't think he's up for it yet.
Maybe not, we'll see. I don't know, I like what I've seen from what I've seen, but I haven't seen enough to be fully confident in it, but we will see how...
We are the minority in that. A lot of people just want him to go back to Chelsea.
Yeah, but let's be honest, like, a lot of people also just want likes on their tweets that they put under the club status, you know. So it's a case of like, I understand the rush for it. There's the ratio rush, but I think Brown needs time. He needs a chance.
Yeah, he does.
You'd say half a season's enough time, but he's not been given the appearances. Give him 2 starts, and then I'll make my judgment on him.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, we haven't really seen him have a start, really, have we?
No, that's the problem.
Performances. I think he had a couple under Monk, and that was about it.
Yeah, I want to see more of him. I don't think you can actually be properly into football and take it objectively if you're judging a player after sporadic appearances. But then again, that's why people didn't realise what Nui did for us. I can't get through an episode without a mention. Anyway, moving on to our first topic of the Talking Wednesday podcast. That's the topic that's not the live reaction that we just did. Yep. Erik Alonso. The drama and the tea we get to spill today. So we're going to start with basically telling you what happened. So Chansiri hired a new advisor recently called Erik Alonso. Big history of sort of like a good reputation in the game, seemingly, when he came in.
People seemed to knew what he was doing, and he seems like it. When we saw a bit of his history, it's like, oh, we might see something happen a bit different now. It might change things up a bit, and yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so we were saying, oh, it might be a nice balance for him to have somebody other than Paxio, who the fans seem to hate in general. Which I understand. Obviously, if we always talk about the advising team being not great for Chansiri, no. But the fact that a new advisor comes in and immediately, this is the story, he's been sacked, or he's left. Yeah, it sounds more like a sacking to me after the stuff that's come out afterwards, and it's been pitched like he's left. So let's just read Erik Alonso's tweet. He says, due to irreconcilable differences with the club, I am sorry to say that I will no longer be advising Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. Although it was a brief period, I was assisting the club. I appreciate all of the messages from support from the fans, and I am disappointed I wasn't able to bring back success to a prestigious and historic club. Unfortunately, due to forces around the club, it became untenable to continue, especially as chances of my reputation being affected became apparent. It was always my intention to assist the club and an owner to bring in positive results on and off the pitch back to the club. Should things change at the club? What could that be, I wonder? Then I will be more than happy to return and bring all the force I have to restore it to where the club should be in the Premier League. All the force he has. That's a very Star Wars. But yeah, so we saw that. And then we were like, oh, so clearly there's something rotten with Chansiri. He's done it again. Bad advice. He's sacked somebody who's trying to stand up to him. Story develops a little bit more. And he starts liking fans' tweets.
Yeah.
And go on, you say a little bit and then we'll get into the like tweets.
It's really weird because I started looking at this pattern and going, he's liking tweets and he's liking everything that we kind of already kind of know with what's going on with Paxo and stuff. And it does seem like it's either Chansiri and Paxo or it's the highway. If you've got something different.
Let's just tell you the juiciness of these tweets he was liking, right? If you're an audio listener, if you want to quickly jump on the video version on YouTube, we're going to show these. I'm going to show these up. So we've got a tweet that says, "No, you've been asked. No, you probably can't tell us, but please, for the sake of the fans, tell us what the hell is going on with our club. Balls to whatever non-disclosure agreement you'll have in place. Our club is being killed and nobody is helping us." That was one of his liked tweets. He liked one that said, "What the," with the eyes that says, "You said cook and he said no, right?" ? He liked that. There's a few more with a few more colourful language. One that said, "Incredible, this statement tells you everything that is wrong with our club and has been since Paxio came on board. Turn the lights off, League One, here we come." And then there was this one which was quite a baity one. I didn't know if he was just liking everything for a while, but then I looked and he wasn't.
Seem it, did it?
He did seem it immediately, but then he went, this tweet was, "Wow, there they are. Check Alonso's like tweets. He's with us. He's confirming everything we're saying about DC. So, Eric, answer me this. Does Chansiri, 1, care about Wednesday deep down? ?
Yeah.
2, only involved so we could secure the loan against the ground. Retweet for 1, like for 2. That's the one that made me think he was liking everything because he liked it. Right.
It did,
and it? Because to be honest, that one doesn't make sense to me because I think that was a baity tweet. It's juicy, don't get me wrong, if that was a genuine thing, but I don't think, why would Chansiri want a loan against the ground if it wasn't just to help us with financial fair play, right? And don't get me wrong, I started questioning Chansiri because I would like him to be a bit more transparent with, because we get a lot of voices coming through the trusts and things like that, but we've not heard anything transparent, so to speak, with anything on the ground. Like, we'll be as objective with you as possible, but I'm still skeptical of what's going on with the club. But that one for me was a little bit much. I don't really buy that one. But yeah, then Chansiri reacts to it, and
this is the bit I don't get.
Yeah, it's he wasn't too happy with it, to say the least. He says he was talking to Yorkshire Live, and he said, quote, "I don't understand why the media and some fans give him, Alonso, too much importance. Eric has never been an official advisor. Whoever has worked within the club, no one has tried to go out on social media to talk with the fans, and the media try to make themselves look important and big."
Can I just put in my bit here with the next bit that's underneath the response?
Definitely.
So when we had the bit where Chansiri was doing all the media to spill, kind of to tell us what was going on, Eric, he is an advisor the same as anyone else. Whoever does the most good for the club, the most I listen. If Eric does good, help me sell players and bring good players, of course I will listen more. So what
the
is
same as anyone else. That's what he was, Chansiri. That's the thing. I read some of it and I'm like, also, do either of you want to come on the podcast and we'll talk to you about it? And you can have a platform where fans who actually listen and want just transparency. We got quite a lot of Wednesday fans that listen to this and interact with this podcast. This is probably one of the best platforms for it, even though it's a brand new podcast. Just saying. But like, I think it's a, you know, when the 6 of one and half a dozen of the other thing, the saying comes in. That's what this feels like. But I read it all, and we were just sat with me and Punt were messaging each other like, this is mental. The fact that Chansiri's firing advisors, there was the stories of Pulis might disagree with him, and then obviously we heard that actually it might be a case of Chansiri was defending the players because Pulis kicked off at Brown. We talked about that. But this is another sort of side of just Chansiri just sack anybody that doesn't agree with him. But then he comes across, and the way he speaks to people, I understand he might be stubborn. I really want to be a fly on the wall in that room because he seems like a reasonable man when he is in his press conferences. Right? And I know you can pull the wool over people's eyes, and I know how easy it is to do that. But surely you listen to people that have been in the game rather than one man who, I don't know, I don't get it.
If you look at his past record, there have been that kind of, if you don't agree with him or something, you go kind of thing. And it's not like this is the first advisor we've seen leave all of a sudden. But this is the first advisor that come out and said stuff. And the bit that got me in that statement was his reputation. Oh my God, what is going on that someone doesn't want to work with the club because it damaged their reputation?
Well, that's where the club's at the minute. But with the whole drama was because everybody sort of related it to Paul Cook, and everybody was sort of holding Alonso up as this hero of the fans because the fans' main choice seemed to be Paul Cook at the minute. And the rumour...
I don't know if you've seen the tweet from Alan Biggs.
No, I'm just about to talk about that, yeah. So the rumour is, it wasn't actually Alan Biggs that I found it from, but I did see him clarifying it all, which was decent. He says, what was said was that Cook wanted to go for Paul Cook, so he started having talks with him. But DC's come back and said that he never interviewed Paul Cook. It was unprofessional, and Alonso's gone and spoken to Paul Cook if anything's been done, and it's sort of gone a bit shady there. So why would you... Surely an advisor of the club wouldn't go and speak to Paul Cook without something from Chansiri, unless Chansiri's gone, yeah, just go and talk to him and see what he wants to come and do it. Because there was a talk about a short-term deal on the table and Paul Cook turned it down.
Yeah.
So was Alonso bringing him in with something bigger maybe? Do you think Alonso went out and the story comes there from like him going, oh, we can get you a decent deal at Wednesday, and then he maybe... Chansiri's saving a bit of face. He comes in for the meeting with Paul Cook and Chansiri's like, no, I only want to give you a short-term deal. And Alonso's then like, but I've promised him all this. I don't know. Could be hearsay yet again, but rumours.
But then you got the situation where Paul Cook come out and said stuff. So if he's actually said that he thinks this is an official attempt to come in and woo him to say, come be our manager and stuff. And I am a little bit concerned about, I keep hearing about offering managers or head coach or whatever you want to call it, short-term deals, because that makes, who's going to want to come in just for like the last bit of the season, keep them up, and then you might get some money if you keep them up, and then we've got to start again.
The only type of managers you bring in there are the ones that know they can prove themselves in 6 months. But so many managers in our position don't back themselves to be able to keep us up, and that's the main crux of it, right? Because there's no incentive there for them. There's a bit of a payday, and if you go down, then you go down. But a manager, especially if the manager wants to sort of like build their career a little bit, they're not going to come in and get a relegation on their CV if they don't have to. So,
and you have got to be very careful what you're saying in the media, DC, because you're getting so close for someone turning around and going, right, I'm going to sue you for libel. Because you came out and said Paul Cook was unprofessional. And he's saying things that doesn't sound good if you're trying to get other new managers in, if you know what I mean. I
don't know if you can sue someone for calling someone unprofessional, but yeah, it is getting a little bit schoolyard in some aspects.
You've seen people have it before where they've gone for the juggler and said that ruined his reputation because he called in unprofessional kind of thing. That's the kind of thing. And he's done it He's done it now with a couple of managers. He said it with Monk. He said it with Pulis, and now he said it with Paul Cook, who actually wasn't even at the club to see what was going on.
It is weird that he calls a lot of people unprofessional when they are professional managers.
Yeah.
What's your idea of professionalism? Yet again, transparency. I honestly, I have said, probably for way too long and more than most fans, I have said Chansiri has got the club's best interests at heart.
Yes,
but unless I start getting some sort of concrete from it, I'll be annoyed if I end up falling under that category of, when he says some fans, because my idea of when he says some fans don't support him are the fans that we do have them in our fan base that just don't listen at all and are constantly just like success or nothing. And that's talking to a brick wall anyway. But if those some fans start to drag people in who have got genuine questions and genuine criticisms, I want to know. Because I also want to know, also, if you are watching this from one of the trusts, I've not got any direct contact with anybody in the trust. I don't actually know who's at the heads of them, things like that. They were just random Twitter pages that appeared one day for me. If you are, please reach out and we would be happy to talk to you, and you can tell us the deals with the transparency, because we are not bitter about not getting the access as a podcast and all that.
We completely get it.
Genuinely, we're objective. Do you know what I mean? We're brand new. We're not even actually officially, the club probably would welcome us if we went through the official media paths, but we didn't want to do that because then we wouldn't be able to be objective straight away. We wouldn't, and subjective, and that's a kind of the crux of a podcast. But what we did want to do is we did want to actually attend the sort of Zooms that were with the fans, not the media ones, the ones that were fan based. So if you are one of the trusts that are on board with that, please get in touch with us, and we would be interested to hear what it's like on the other side, because I know some trusts were running to Chansiri's aid, so I just want to make sure, I want to see what the crux is behind that and what the actual core of it is.
And
so,
to kind of go on that whole, the whole thing, I keep getting it in my things. Are you DC in or you DC out? And my thing is, at the moment, I'm DC in because he owns the club. I haven't got to say, I don't have somebody on the phone that I can go, hey up mate, this person, I don't like how he's running my club. Can you come buy him out for me? I don't have that. No one has that. Like, anyone can go Chansiri out, and I get that, and I understand the frustration. But who realistically coming to buy us right now in the state the world's in state the club is in? It's not as easy as you think it is. Look at Derby. They've been trying to get their takeover done for ages, and it's still rumbling on.
No. Well, it's certainly a bit worrying that there's this much drama coming out of the club. I mean, it's great to talk about. It's great for a podcast. Thanks for all that. But it's interesting to see what's coming out of it. We're not gonna beat a dead horse.
No.
Anybody who wants to send us comments, there's the Talking Wednesday podcast at gmail.com. Hit that up anonymously, all that. We will take sources in there. But Erik Alonso, he's fighting back against the club. It's the first time we've seen someone do it so publicly. Will be interesting to see how that one plays out over the next week or so.
And I think he said when the time is right, he will reveal all with sources. So
I know, that was like, we're getting a Netflix-style drama. You're going to sit there in a darkened room with a spotlight. Wonderful. Anyway, moving on to topic 2. We are going to be talking about the fact that Wednesday are linked with a sporting director model, which would be a new thing for the club, really. Well, I think Rhoda technically came in as a sporting director.
They were technically, that little committee was technically a sporting director, but he didn't call it that.
Yeah. So David Webb is the one that is linked. I know Dom Housekeeping sort of said that it's wider than Mark, this one. Yeah, but strange things can happen,
To be fair, at the moment, Don Housekeeping is the one journalist I trust on most Wednesday stuff, because when Chansiri did that kind of article about Paul Cook and Alonso, the Star requested it, the BBC requested it, and they all got turned down, but Housekeeping got it. I
genuinely think in COVID there's just not enough to go around. I don't think it's favoritism or things like that. I think the Star do good stories. I think the Star, that Dom, I see Alan, I see the people that know what they're talking about a lot. We do have to take some stories with a pinch of salt because they're not always right. Gotcha. I think there could be something more in this. I think it could have been something that we were looking at, but it's probably not something that we are. At the end of the day, everybody's working on sources, right? They're not. Yeah. Sometimes they get stuff directly from the club. But the club they're also sometimes looking for those sources that they trust. And the way that you usually do it, like that stuff with Brown last week, I couldn't say for certain that was true, because for me, if I've still got an element of this sort of like professional background, I don't bring a source out and put my name on it if I don't have two sources that, come to the same story without me putting the pieces together. So if I can get two credible sources, that's when I'll put my name to it and say I believe it. Right, so, but the two sources have to be credible sources that I trust.
And they've got to be saying the same thing. It can't be one source saying one and then one saying the other.
Exactly, but sporting director, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the success that model's had. This guy did well at Huddersfield, brought through some youngsters. Yeah. Apparently, he was massively behind the likes of Son coming through, was it?
Yes,
Finding Son originally. Yeah. Stanislas was another one.
And Stanislas and Wilson was players from lower league, if I remember correctly, when they came up to like Bournemouth and stuff like that.
So this is why this made a little bit more sense to me, because we are in this, if you look at the Harry Pickering links and things like that, we are in the talks for younger players, lower leagues, that would rise up to this level and maybe make a name for themselves here. And that's why I kind of bought into this a little bit more. I just think his history would be a good fit for us. In a way, I kind of hope there's some credibility to this because it looks good.
Yeah,
if you look at other sporting director models, I'll go for the big ones, right? You've got Ralph Ragnick at Leipzig, who discovered the likes of Matip and Firmino in the early days.
Yeah.
You've got all those big Liverpool use a model, a sporting director model now, even though Jurgen Klopp is the manager, he's technically head coach. Tottenham use it. The big clubs use that now, and it seems to be working at poaching the lower leagues, especially. So I think to keep up with the modern game, I wouldn't be as against this nowadays, but I think dinosaurs, okay? The managers aren't going to like that because they like the full control. And that's potentially why recently, right, Wednesday have hired the likes of Tony Pulis, Steve Bruce, people that are notably don't like being a head coach. They want to be a manager. They want to have control.
Yeah.
Yet we already kind of play you don't have control role. Why not bring an official sporting director in and then just get a head coach? Do that. We had our best success in recent history under a head coach, Carlos.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense in terms of how we're run and how it seems like if this is what you want to go down the route. And for a long time, this whole kind of having a sporting director has been massive in Europe for years. And it's only recently where it come across into England and it's starting to have that desired effect. And it's why you're seeing younger managers come in. It's like, it's not a case of them, they will go, I want this player and this player, but they then got somebody who can go, I found this player, is this much, this is the video, what do you think? And I think it takes a little bit more pressure off a manager to just go help on the footballing side if he's not having to look at recruitment.
No, yeah. I hope there's something more in this. It was dismissed a bit today. But I think also the Kachunga link was dismissed and Kachunga ended up coming to Wednesday, things like that. So it happens, These things happen. Sources sometimes get it wrong.
Personally, I think if we got it done, it would make a huge difference.
I'm for this, and I didn't think I'd be for this, but I am for this. Looking at his CV, he did well at Huddersfield during the time, and I think he'd be an ideal fit for us. But moving on, we've got Sam Hutchinson returning. I'm not going to go into it massively because we discussed Sam's potential return last week.
Yeah,
we kind of knew it was happening, even though we didn't officially know it was happening. So it was, let's just read what he said to the Star. Speaking to the Star, I told my agent there was only really one club that I wanted to go to. Obviously, we looked into other clubs because as an agent, he's trying to find out what's best for me. There were other options, I'm not going to lie. Financially, there were better options, but I only had one club I wanted to come to. I still feel like I have a point to prove here. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Yeah, no point.
He's happy to be back. He's smiling like a Cheshire cat.
And he had a blinder today.
He looks like the luckiest man alive that can't believe he's actually like, what is going on with... I kind of like it because people are saying that like he's trying his luck and he's taking the mick of the club with the photo and stuff, which is ridiculous for one. But I think it's just a case of like, oh, look, I'm back again. I actually like that, the cheeky side. And he was refreshingly honest in his interview, saying that he got a point to prove. It looks like his deal's incentive-based, which was what we've been saying for a while.
Which I think
pay as you play with the injured players. Yeah. People were saying for ages, like, why isn't Sam, because of his knee and that and his injuries, why isn't he on a pay as you play because he's quality on his day? And I don't think he'll be so much on pay as you play. I think he'll be on a low wage with heavy incentives if he does well. So like if he plays appearances. Yeah, I think that's the incentive because he's here till the end of the season, and I reckon if he performs for us for the whole half of the season and keeps fit, he'll get another year, and I think he'll deserve that, especially if he keeps us up. Because even if he doesn't keep us up, if he gets another year and we're in the Championship, I reckon we'll have given him League One wages with Championship, high-end Championship bonuses. So like appearance bonuses, clean sheet stuff, things like that, and with the incentive of another year. But if we do get relegated, I think being able to extend Sam's contract will be ideal. God, yeah. Yeah, because he'd be quality in that.
The nice thing I liked in one of the interviews they did is like, my little boy told me I want you to go back to Wendy. I thought it was kind of cute that he
pulled on the heartstrings a little bit, yeah.
But I also think it's nice that you can see while he's been here, his family have pulled into the Wendy mindset. Like Westwood kids are Wendy fans because he's been here that long, and I think it's just nice to have that. And yeah, it pulls on the heartstring, but there's something that I like about that, and it could be that he wants to prove something to his little boy as well, so that he can still do it at this.
Yeah, no, definitely. We are going to just quickly jump back to another because that's all we've had in terms of transfers this week.
Yeah,
we are going to quickly just jump back to the Paul Cook thing on Josh Windass, because we talked about Paul Cook a little bit more than I planned to earlier. We did have a Paul Cook topic about how he's not looking like he's coming back. He's not coming back. What am I on about? It's not looking like he's going to have a reunion with Windass. It's not like he's going to... That's where I got the coming back from thing, the Windass link. But he's not going to be coming to Wednesday. He's turned it down. He's talking about it. He said to the Star again, good reporting, Star, been on this one this week. He said that he's not a bad person. Opens up on it with Josh. Again, there's two sides to every story, which is always important. He told that to the Full-Time Whittle podcast. I think especially when we weren't doing well, Josh probably struggled with the fact that he felt he moved from Rangers to Wigan Athletic, which was valid. There was a big, massive fallout where two people think they have this clash and there's nothing. Two people have this clash and there's no going back from it. That's what he said there. Words. That's a really small quote. When Punk copies and pastes these, he needs to make them bigger next time for my awful eyes. So
I just thought,
we just wanted to mention that.
Watch along.
Because I should have dragged this in a little bit earlier, because we could have said that, it wasn't the Windass thing as well. That wouldn't have been an issue by the looks of it, especially because he said this after he already said he's probably not coming to Wednesday. So thought it's worth having a look at. But the one thing that we are really going to look at, and it's something that
big one.
It's all about youth players. There's rumours going around. We'll talk about the rumours that are going a little bit longer. But we're going to talk about youth players and their pathway to the team, and youth retention, basically. So this whole section is all about that. The youth of Wednesday, which a lot of people obviously are interested in.
And there's two stories in here, because there's one that I didn't actually know about until the Everton game, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that. And
well, you can start. Tell you what, go for it.
So what I didn't... Basically, we've had this whole thing. We all know we're bad at keeping youth team players. We all know it. Look at Vardy, the classic example that we do. We let him go, and he's gone on to be a damn good footballer. I did not know that Ben Godfrey was in our academy.
I didn't either till the Everton game.
and then they brought it all up on is that another one we let go? And what did they get? 25 million Norwich, didn't they, for him?
Yeah.
What we could do with 25 million right now.
No, exactly. It's Norwich. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. Norwich have got a really good sporting director model. They are one of the best examples towards our level that could do it. And they are ridiculous. And Godfrey was an example of their sporting director thing. Sporting directors, they work in modern football. But yeah, this basically comes from Neil Thompson saying he isn't afraid to hand starts to the club's youngsters. A lot of managers said that. Monk said that. He wanted to bring the youth in, things like that. Josh was playing... let's not go there. We're not even doing that. That's not happening. But the reason we are talking about it is because we've noticed a lot of issues with our youth lately. If you look at George Hurst, if you look at Sean Clare, if you look at players that we hyped up, they had a good few matches and they sodded off. George Hurst, who was meant to be a lifetime Wednesday fan, is now playing at Rotherham, right, on loan, because... It ends up coming about money. I understand that. If you would take a bigger, salary anywhere, somebody offers me more money in the same job and it's a lot more money, I'd go and do it and a chance to improve it.
And you look at Sean Clare. He said he wanted to go down south and then he went up north to Hearts, and I think he's now playing at Oxford.
Yeah, so he has gone down south, but he's gone down the leagues, and it happens. So we are growing increasingly concerned that this is going to happen again. And that is evident in the fact that it does appear quite substantially that Liam Shaw is looking likely to be talking with Celtic. And it looks like that could happen.
Personal terms, wasn't it?
Yeah. Today it kind of got a bit further in the actual rumours and obviously, again, this is all alleged, but today apparently he was talking personal terms today. That's at the time of recording this podcast. So at the end of the season, his contract's up. And I got called out a little bit. People going, oh, where have you got this from, sort of thing. I'm like, are you looking what anybody's saying? Are you reading into what the manager's saying? Yeah. He was asked about Shaw's injury, and then he was asked about Shaw's transfer, and his body language completely changed. And he said, I can't talk about that. That's ongoing discussions. So Thompson basically said that was about the Celtic link, and he said that there's talks going on. right? And people sometimes said that, oh, what if that he means his contract? I'm like, they were asking him about Celtic, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's talks with the club to extend Shaw's contract, obviously. He's also got, I think that there's been fees like measly 300k compo because he can go at the end of the season, but they could get him now and we could claw back 300 to 500k. Ridiculous, right? Because he's clearly a player that's worth over $1 million with his potential and everything. I am concerned about the strength of these rumours, and I think it could be something that happens. If I am faced with this, Liam Shaw is obviously a lifetime Wednesday fan, and he's got that. He's got a broader accent than me. I don't really have an accent. I've got a general northern accent, but he's got. You can hear he's from Sheffield, right? You can hear that he's a Wednesday fan. You can see the passion in it. He's had a couple of great matches for us, and it looks like he could be the next one of these players to be out the door in the same way as Hurst and Clare. What are your thoughts on it?
It's a tough one because I know football, for footballers, it's a short game in terms of your career. One big injury and you're done. So if he's going to go and get the money and earn a fair whack, then fair enough. But at the same time, it's that whole kind of thing where we know he's out of contract. Why hasn't something been done sooner when he was starting to get into the squad and showing signs that he was looking good? It screamed to me of when they're just waiting too late and seeing that someone coming into it and then give him in the contract, if you know what I mean. You got it.
I don't know, because you just said football's a short career, right? He's 19. Right. Yes, I know he can get a massive injury, but it's not that short a career when you're 19 and you're a Wednesday fan and you're playing for us. Right, Liam, if you're watching this, no offence, obviously, I don't know why you'd watch this. But the thing is, there is younger players that do watch the online content, which is weird. There's a couple in the academy that watch the content. Do you know what I mean? So we are getting there now.
It's this kind of thing where that's what I meant. If you get a bad injury, you're done. If it's really bad.
Yeah.
And I get it. But for Liam, he could be looking at what's going on at the club at the minute and go, do I really want to do this right now? And the thing I got is yes, you are a lifetime Sheffield Wednesday fan, and ideally you want any lifetime Sheffield Wednesday fan to go, this is your contract, yeah, I'll sign it, whatever, I'm a fan, right?
I understand using terms to get a better deal at Wednesday, but for the love of God, don't do it. Don't go to Celtic are a massive side. Don't get me wrong, Celtic are a massive side, but use them to get a better deal. Fine.
Yeah. But Celtic are also in trouble at the moment with their own youth team players. They've got players going out who are not getting played. A friend of mine who is a Celtic fan said, if that Liam Shaw comes here, he'll just sit on the bench. He'll just play in our under-23s or something. He won't get played that well. And it's like you're jumping from one ship to another ship. The only difference is the ship you're going to may play in Europe and you may get in there's an injury crisis, then our ship going maybe down to League One. But I understand an agent wanting to try and get a better deal, but I've heard nothing from the club saying if there's something ongoing. All I keep hearing is the Celtic link, which scared me. And the other one is you've got a player like, if you're going down the whole youth thing, Uruguay is out of contract in the summer. Another one who had a great game today, who could leave
Irrigida, yeah. Irrigida. I wondered who you said that. I said, Uruguay?
I'm so bad with names.
Irrigida,
If anyone saw the Coventry game and me doing their lineup, Jesus.
I watched that. I was laughing a little bit. You shouldn't laugh at your co-host, but I was like, oh, you're worse at names than me. I didn't think that was possible. But yeah, the reason I said the thing about not trying to offend any players or anything, in case any of this got clipped, like somebody sent it to them, like shared the timestamp or something. You're not allowed to clip things, but just like if they shared. So because to be honest, we might have clipped this section and put it somewhere, and if that's shared, I don't want to offend players that this story might be a load of crap, right? Because I'm a person that actually does give a crap about pylons to players. So what I'm just saying is, if there is truth in this, and you are a Wednesday fan, use Wednesday for a better deal, fine. But we've had too many youth players holding the club to ransom, right? So be decent to the club that have started. You can become a Wednesday legend if you go through these and go through the speculation and kick on. But the thing that worried me is this injury's come at the right time for him to make a deal. Do you know what I mean? The injury, and he's not in the squad at all.
It really has.
So I think
And
there's something
it's
in
also-
this.
Yeah, the injury just, he was playing and then suddenly he's out the squad completely. It's like, hey, you were fine a couple of weeks ago. Also, remember, Celtic won't have just watched him on the couple of games that he'd been doing. They'll watched him for a while in under 23 games or whatever. So it could be a case that they've seen him and they recognise, but he's now stepped up and they've seen him in some actual games and gone, oh, we can actually do it. And then gone, well, we'll go for it then. You know what I mean? People are thinking that they've seen him after the couple of games. They're not stupid. They scout under 23 games and whatever to see what's there. So also remember in that kind of sense.
No, yeah, definitely. I do feel like there's more in this.
I do see a lot of people going like, he's only played this many games and stuff. It's like, yeah, but that might not be the only game they've seen him in.
I think the reason that I'm kind of cautious about this one is I'm sick of seeing it happen. And if we've done it again and it happens again, never get excited about a youth player again because it just keeps happening. Because the thing is, we're not.
To be fair. Go
on.
To be fair, if it happens, it's going to cause a domestic in my house because my wife's a Celtic fan.
If it happens this way, it's ridiculous because we're getting no money for it, right? I understand selling your youth players if it's for a couple of mil, but this way we've done it wrong. Give the players the right contracts. If they're going to get their first team appearances, they shouldn't be anywhere near the first team squad or on that bench if they have not got an extension. If their contract's running out in the next year, if they have not got an extension for us to trigger if they have a great season when they've come off the bench, right? Do not play them. They should be nowhere near the first team squad because we are doing this wrong every single time and it's starting to do my head in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
More positive news.
Poor running of it, though. But we'll get it.
Yeah. More positive news potentially is in terms of us poaching players. So we've not got a massive transfer thing about incomings. It's still the same one anyway.
It's really dead.
It's just basically it's basically an update on Harry Pickering. The Examiner spoke to Neil, said, are you interested in signing Harry Pickering? Straight out like that. Didn't really say anything, can't really say anything, but he did say, listen, the recruitment department look at a lot of players and the ones that are impressing in the lower leagues. He mentioned the lower leagues.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be direct about Harry Pickering. I think we are looking. It just confirms what we've been talking about recently about scouting from those lower leagues. Right. So I think we've not really got a massive transfer incoming section for you because there's not much to update you on that we didn't talk about last week. It's pretty brassy.
The transfer thing, we're either going to have next week a very busy one on the transfer because we've gone big on the last day, which we do that sometimes, but they can't state as how the club is. I can't see it. But it'll be interesting to see what Wednesday do because we do tend to like to leave things a little bit late at times in the transfer window. But at the current way with how the club is, it's hard. It's a hard way to sell the club to a player to come in.
Yeah, no, I get you. We don't really have much more to talk about on that one.
No.
We will update you as we go on next week, I'm sure. I'm going to hand this next topic over because I've not plucked this topic. I had to read through it, but I think the best person to do it is the person that brought it. And I'm not
going to read all of what it says.
No, definitely paraphrase. For the love of God, please do not read these 3 massive paragraphs. But we are going to talk about Sheffield Wednesday Trust ticket. Is it policies?
Yes.
So please explain to me a little bit more. This is going to be an educational thing for me.
Our tickets at the minute are in A, B, and C categories into whatever happens. And a lot of times, if it's an A game, it's massively expensive. And the big thing we've all had when we've done games or we've seen tickets given to away fans, it's always, how much are we paying to go see Wednesday? Or how much is it to pay for this game? And away fans go, why are you charging us that much? So they basically said they want to have basically the Birmingham model, where the cheapest match day ticket on average is 19 quid. That makes a lot of sense, where for 2 tickets, it's 40 quid instead of 1 ticket being 40 quid. This is the bit where Chansiri never got it right.
No, yeah, definitely. I'd take my girlfriend to the match every week if the tickets were that. Most times I'd take her if the money was there. You know, I mean, she wouldn't want to come, but tough. It would be like, I'd be like, but the tickets are too expensive at the minute, and honestly, we could next season be on Premier League prices in League One football. Which is
also
ridiculous.
Remember also paying £60 a shirt as well. But
so what's this happening? What's the progress?
So basically, they've put it forward to the club in general to say, can we have a look at this idea and see if it'll work and stuff, and trying to see what the response is from the club. And they're giving them all the evidence. I've gone through it page by page, and it's like, what a hell of a lot of document to go through. And it's now, let's see if this supporter trust and Chansiri are actually going to listen. More Chansiri than the supporter trust. But the fact that they're coming in and saying we should do this instead of what we're doing now show progress, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I think in a way it's going to be a win-win for Chansiri because he's got to lower the prices if we get relegated. And he's got to lower he could just lower the prices a little bit in the Championship.
Can you imagine Leyton Orient fans getting their away ticket and going, it was like £45?
No, yeah.
It's not going to happen,
definitely.
is it?
It's one of those things that, like, also, depending on, I'm pretty sure that most working adults are in the same boat. My weekends aren't always solid, right? So I don't feel as optimistic about committing to a season ticket anymore because they're not cheap season tickets, right? If it was a cheaper season ticket for home fans, like it used to be, right, and you could just miss matches and not really worry about it, or give it to a mate and be like, yeah, cool, you go, and I can't, I'm working. I would get a season ticket every season without question now.
Yeah, ditto.
But I'm not in that position. I've been, for the past couple of seasons, I've been going down memberships, going to most matches, probably spending a little bit more, even with memberships, things like that. But knowing that there's going to be some times where I can't go for 3 weeks on the trot because I've got to work, you know. So I think
everyone's finances are going to be changing massively once we allow fans back in.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't, I think once we allow fans back in, and you might disagree with me, you might think, and I'm thinking like a good gesture thing. Adult ticket £15 for the year, and then we raise them to £19 next year, and it stays at that, just to get more people in. As a kind of thing. It's been really crap with everything that's gone on with the pandemic, but we want you in. You know what I mean? Instead of going,
if we're in League One, those prices, I think a more realistic price would be £20 a match, 20, 25. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
25 for the big ones, 20 for your ones where you're like, oh, I'm going. Do you know what I mean?
I've said for years, if he lowers tickets, it get more people in. But people always go, but when he does the £10 tickets that he's done, no one turns up. Yeah, but they're also the games nobody wants to go to. That's the thing. The teams that are the £10 games.
Oh, I've always took a load of mates. You know, if there's the £10 ones there, that's where it's ridiculous because it works for me. If I'm going, I'll just go and buy all my mates' tickets and we'll just go and have a few beers first and go and enjoy it. I'll be like, they don't even if they don't support Wednesday, I'm like, do you want to just go and watch some football and have a nice Saturday? You know, so
do you just want a social life?
Yeah, no, it's one of those where just do more about it, right? Okay, and I think this is a good idea. The tickets.
It's a start.
It is a start. He's listening. I don't know. I've been disenfranchised with our pricing for a while now because I understand supporting a club. It's very right. Here's where you've got to be really careful. It's very easy when you have got money and you've always come from money, and he has always come from money, right?
Yeah.
To villainize people who've had to, and I understand he works hard, right? But people that have had to work hard just to live, right? Yeah. Before, and then they've earned their sort of crust, and actually they've got a bit of disposable income now. They don't want to be back into having to pay an absolute fortune to go and support their club, which is their luxury. And a lot of people, it's like a religion. You go to your church every Saturday instead of Sunday. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that you have to spend so much to do it, and then you get people going, well, why can't, if people aren't going to financially invest in the club, if the fans aren't going to do that, then I can't do that. It's very easy to say when you're loaded, mate. Very easy to say. I've been priced out of the club in situations, and it's not.
I got priced out of the club a long time ago, and the thing I got is, for some people, this is their one treat they have. is to have a season ticket that they can go to games week in, week out. That is their big Christmas present. They don't really ask for anything, or that's what they get themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I honestly, by the time I got back from uni, Chansiri was in and the price is ridiculous. And I just went, right, I'll just be a member and I'll go to as much as I can and I'll work the other times. And it was a case of, I was still probably going to 70% of the matches, 60, 70%. But it gave me that flexibility. I would honestly get the season tickets again, but I'd also like it to be a case of, if I'm going to go to the 60, 70% of matches, I shouldn't have to pay for those what I'd pay for an older season ticket or more than a season ticket. You know, just because my situation's different, I shouldn't have to pay more. The ticket situation definitely needs thinking about, and I hope they do have a proper look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Last topic before we move on to your guys' topic suggestions. Upcoming matches. So, we've got Bournemouth. We've got Millwall. We did. Bournemouth have now got Jack Wilshere.
Oh, God, they have, haven't they? Oh,
yeah. So, Bournemouth is the midweek match. Okay. I'm not confident about that one because they've then got a point to prove to come and give us a smashing.
What did they do today? Do you
know? We'll have a quick look.
Out of interest. Oh,
I think
they lost 3-1.
Bournemouth lost. Okay, so there's some optimism there. I am optimistic that we can get 4 points from this. If we play like we did today, if we keep the matches scrappy against good sides. It's more likely that we're going to beat Bournemouth and lose to Millwall because Millwall are a bloody hard team to battle against.
But then again, when we beat them, that was the first team that beat them.
Yeah, but it also could be two. So, it could be two losses. It depends what Wednesday turns up on the day.
But what are we like about against teams higher up and then teams near us? Teams that are near us, we struggle. Teams high up, it like we got a point to prove where Wednesday we can do this. So, like I said, it all depends. I can see 4 points coming from it, but I could see us nicking it at Bournemouth again, and I could see us having it where we're winning at Millwall and then something happens. That is typical Wednesday. That's how I think it'll go.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to the week, especially because I'm actually going to throw a curveball and give the loyal listeners that listen to this podcast towards the end quite a juicy topic to end with that's not in the document, right? We're going to spill some tea and some rumours that have just broken. And what we've heard, actually, let's delve into it. Let's give some, this is going to be a breakout as well. So it's going to be loyal, but it's also going to be a breakout. We have heard credibly-ish. I'd say it's quite credible.
I'd say ish. Yeah.
It's one of them that we've got a source again, but I've heard it from two places, but I don't trust the second one as much as I trust the first. Wednesday, you're appointing a manager next week, potentially. Right? And it's Jake's favourite choice. It's Chris Coleman.
Yeah.
Apparently, that is the biggest rumour that we have heard at the minute. That Chris Coleman could be in charge next week. Could be also talking out our arse, by the way, just saying.
Yeah, just remember, we all thought we were close to getting Paul Cook.
Yeah, exactly. And we have heard that there may have been some talks there before as well. So apparently it's in the similar sort of stage, but there's some issues. Now, I'm going to let Punk say as much as he wants on this, but make sure I'm going to say anything Punk's about to say is alleged, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what have you heard from your source, my friend?
So I'd heard that Chris Coleman wants to come in and he wants to do it, but doesn't want the short-term contract that Chansiri is wanting to give everybody, by the sounds of it. He wants to build something. Now, I think Chris Coleman's actually an okay manager. I think he could do... the thing with Chris Coleman, he reminds me a little bit of Gary Monk, you know what I mean? Similar kind of thing.
He's more of a motivator, isn't he, Chris Coleman? I actually think, I disagree in the terms of the likeness to Monk, in the terms of I think Monk's a tactician, depending on how well you think he is a tactician. But Coleman's a motivator, and you can see that with the Wales side he had, even though that was a lot of bail.
And to be fair, do we actually need that right now? Do we need a motivator? I think probably do, don't we?
Yeah, no, that's exactly. That's why I believe a little bit more into the credibility that it might be a thing. I'm very cautiously sort of like sitting back on this one and being like,
on this one, I'm not high up on it. I'm probably about 65-70%, and I need.
In terms of, you think it's true, or you'd be happy about it?
I think it's true.
Right. Okay. Cool. Well, we do.
I would be happy with it. But
we wouldn't be doing our podcast duties if we didn't bring you some juicy goss that we'd just heard. Juicy goss. We're in a high school in America. Wow. Love it. I'm full of these on the podcast now.
Last week you used the pod.
The pod. Yep. Just had me saying lad about 6,000 times throughout as well, and we've got the full stereotype there. But yeah. Some juicy goss. Chris Coleman could potentially be the Wednesday manager by the next time we talk to you.
I'd like to know what people
does
think
agree
about
to it.
that as well.
But yeah, that's why we're bringing this topic up. Would you take Chris Coleman as Sheffield Wednesday manager? Because I am so far on the fence, I'm getting splinters for this one. I've been cautious about it in the past.
I'm not sure.
And he didn't do well at Sunderland, even though everybody seemed to love him. Yeah. So if he is the Wednesday manager by some weird coincidence that this is all panned out,
wait, are we making a documentary? Has he got a leading part?
Well, that's the thing. It's if you see a documentary crew around Hillsborough, then we might be getting in the right kind of manager for it. But no, he was on the odds. He shot up the odds, then went down the odds and sort of stagnated. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah,
the odds?
Let us know down in the comments if you would take Chris Coleman at Sheffield Wednesday, because I genuinely don't know on that one. But yes. It's time for your community topics, community questions. A load of you were on my stream for the Preston match going, can we submit topics in chat? No! I give you a week. I give you about 3 days when I post the topics. Please go to the community tab, look for when I'm talking about it, and go on my Twitter.
But then your lovely other half kind of went, I'll save the topic for you. So there was a little bit of...
No, and then I said, no, we're not doing that. I was the Scrooge. So go to Talking Wednesday podcast at Twitter, which is at Talking Wed or at Dex. Actually, I'm putting them all at Talking Wed now and retweeting them from Dexter at Dexterity Box. That's where I ask for them on Twitter. On YouTube, they're in the community tab. You have to be a subscriber to Dexterity Box. I put the post. I asked for the topics. They can be insightful. There's 2 that I saved from the past couple of podcasts for if we're ever struggling for topics. They're really cool.
Do you want to know what the odds are on Chris Coleman?
Go on really quickly.
2-1.
We might be right on something here. We might have had a credible source. Interesting. But yes, the first community topic this week, we only took 2 because there were only 2 that we felt like we could realistically talk about this week. Some of the others have been saved, but yeah, even if you just ask us what's our favourite sandwich, I want that question in the podcast next week, and we can have a topic on that. But this one is from Twitter user J797192335. Right. How many games do you think we have to save our season? Every game is a cup final for me, because we are so inconsistent that I don't buy us being able to put too much of a run together ever, really. So, every game's cup.
We've got 22 games left, I believe, and apparently you need to win about 10.
Is that for 50 points?
Yeah. To get safety. That's where you're looking at. And
it's a very competitive league, though, this season, so I genuinely feel we've got...
a strange league this season.
I know it might sound like a bit of a cop-out, because I have looked into it, but I was looking at the games, and genuinely we need to treat every game like a cup final, because the games keep going against us. The other teams, like Derby, have started to put some fixtures together. Wickham, I don't know if they got I know they were drawing at some point today, but teams are scrapping. Did they end up getting battered? Forget what I just said about Wickham. Because I remember someone saying it's 1-1, and I was like, Jesus.
They got battered by Brentford 6-2.
Just ignore everything I just said. But yes, every game, because Wednesday is so inconsistent for now,
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to answer this a little bit later on when I think if we're really in the crap. But after Preston today, I want to see that. I want to see us fighting every time because we won today, but because we lost against Coventry, we haven't got long. The time is ticking.
It's
we're
very
still 4
hard
points
to
off.
put a prediction, isn't it? When one day you lose 2-0, the next day you win 1-0, and our fixture for February are horrible.
Yeah, no, they really are. And the last question for today is from Twitter user PLKW the third. How many more games should we give Neil Thompson? If they're like today, honestly,
if he gets today's performance and his performance against Everton, even though we lost, a lot
for
longer.
me, if we pick up 2 points, if we pick up 2 points from Bournemouth and Millwall, I still imagine he's going to be the manager because they're hard fixtures.
Yeah.
Right? I think if he only picks up a point, get rid of him this week. Because we need the dynamic change. But then again, genuinely, if a new manager's just coming next week, for me, I do feel like we need a manager that's versed in this and can motivate the players. But after Preston today and after the Everton performance, I'm sort of warming to just giving him a chance. But Coventry just showed that this team can easily fall back into being absolutely crap, And I'm frustrated because I want to give you a more clear answer on this one. But I can't.
It's hard to say because before we had to have the break and the Everton game, we actually were starting to look really good and things were starting to look better. But then we'd had that, we come back after break. Yes, it's Everton, granted, FA Cup. Probably didn't put out the strongest team because we've kind of had we weren't going to properly go through, but we went for it and we looked good. But then you look at how we play against Coventry to how we played against Everton. It was two different teams. We sat so deep against Coventry and didn't look like... But then today, we go out and attack it and we could have got 2 or 3 today. It was a really weird one because it's such a Jekyll and Hyde situation with the team performances at the minute. 1 minute, we're looking like we can get out of this and he got the job, he got on ticking, he got motivated. Next minute, then we're looking different again.
Completely. It is, you said it great, it's the Jekyll and Hyde side. Until we get some consistency, I really can't comment on how long I am Chansiri. It's been me all along. Pulls off the mask. No, I don't know.
Great question, Sam.
I think minimum for me is 2 points from the next 2 matches, or we need to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
We need to already be looking elsewhere. We need a motivator. We need somebody who's got I don't have a better option, but that's not my job, fortunately. That's Chansiri's job. So please, Chansiri, do your job and make sure that we survive and we are not in League One next season, even though it's looking a little bit more likely than it did last week. But if we do, like we did today, against that Preston side, if we can scrappy out every other side and get a goal, if Liam Palmer fancies becoming messy for the next few fixtures, then we will...
I was so shocked by that goal.
No, I know. I was like, Palmer? Really? Love it. But yeah, we will see how long Thompson gets.
Didn't you?
No, I said Kachunga put the header backwards.
There you go.
Because he headed it backwards. But yeah, Kachunga, because there was 4 players involved in that. I was like, so it's Patterson's throw to Lees to Kachunga to I didn't actually know who it was. I was like, and it's a goal. And then I was like, hang on, it's Palmer. I didn't actually say to Palmer because I saw Kachunga's header back and I was like, who the hell just scored? But yeah, it was decent. Yeah, Thompson, if he can grind out results, keep him around, but we need to be looking at options and Chansiri needs to be ready to pull the plug like that because he's not a manager, right?
No,
he's a caretaker manager. And I'm not insulting him when I'm saying that. He could be a manager if he goes the way of it. But your first job should not be trying to keep Sheffield Wednesday up when financially us going down would be quite ruining for the club. But yeah, unless you've got anything you want to wrap up with, Punk, if there's any... I've just checked, there's no breaking news that we've got to discuss before we go. I'm quite happy.
Just the usual kind of keep safe and remember we actually can win games and don't go too mental on Twitter, please.
No,
I read somewhere
just-
this week someone was on about doing a protest. We're in a lockdown. Please use your heads.
Yeah,
Just be smart.
don't go mental at it. Wednesday will always be Wednesday, and Wednesday will always make your emotions run high and ruin your weekend. They've been doing it for many years, but keep yourself safe, look after yourselves. We will be back next Sunday at 12 p.m. after hopefully a decent week, and hopefully we're not in despair, but you know, the way Wednesday
Maybe a
are.
manager.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a new manager. But for now, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next Talking Wednesday podcast. Take care.
Ya.